Russo Italiano sponsors Boxing Bros UK. I am Ahis, the boss, Chris, and this is my co-host, Andrew, the boxing brain. And today's topic, we're going to talk about the Liam Cameron, Ben Whittaker 2 fight. And
finally, it's happening.
Finally, we've got it. But we're going to just do a little bit of an analysis on, or just a watch along of their interview on TalkSport. I think this was a bit more entertaining than the press conference, to be honest, because I think that was just all.
Yeah.
Well, it's just Ben Whittaker just being a knob. But I thought where they were sat right next to each other, there was a bit. It showed a few different sides. You'll see because you like a bit of psychology. He's not that cocky.
I do.
Right next to him. But anyway, let's get straight into it.
And Liam Cameron will take to the ring once again on the 20th of April in Birmingham. And Whittaker and Cameron's first fight ended in a, dramatic fashion, with both boxers toppling over the ropes and outside the ring during the 5th round of their light heavyweight clash. That was back in October. And I'm delighted to say that joining us now on Drive, looking ahead to that one, are both fighters. So let me say, firstly, talking about that first fight, because it ended in a draw after you both fell out the ring. Liam, I'll start with you. Do you feel that you were on top in that fight in the early rounds?
Yeah, I think that. He had a good first round. I shouldn't have really got to him that quick, but I did. And happy days, really.
Liam, you joined myself and Bentley on Drive after that first fight. That was back in October. You had this to say about Ben. Have a listen, then we'll get your view, Ben. Oh, we haven't got that. I'll tell you what, the atmosphere is.
Meet the brand new Wondershare Uni Converter 14, the all-in-one video toolbox to convert.
Ben, let me ask your view on that fight, because it was a strange end to what was quite a bizarre fight. How did you see it going up until that moment?
If you look at the Champions League, he's Brest, Real Madrid. He got a draw and he's running away with it. That's what it is. And that's how I see it.
Ben, there was a lot of pictures of you leaving the arena in a wheelchair. And there was a lot of speculation as to what the injury was that you sustained. What was it?
I'm not going to come here and say, oh, it was this, it was that. But I actually had to go down to the British Boxing Board. I had to do this, do that. I got rushed to the hospital. And it was actually a serious injury, to be fair. I came back, I had to do rehab. I had to do all the right things, but it's just part of the game, really. Bizarre outcome. And it's not the way I wanted to end it.
Why won't...
Right, I'm just going to pause it there.
Yeah. I know, go on, you go, because I've got something to say as well.
Right. Okay. Like, you don't have to explain nothing, yeah. But like, for me, you kind of do, because what's the harm in saying what actually happened? Because you fell out the ring. Nobody can see anywhere where you hit your ankle on the ring post. No one can see it. You're leaving the ring in the wheelchair. Yeah. So, like, you don't have to go into explicit details. We don't want to see a doctor's note, but just like a little. Well, you see, you can't really see it on camera, but I banged it on the stairs or something, or someone stood on it. Whatever it is, this happened, and it was really, really bad. Had to have surgery on it and all that, like somewhere on my ankle or something. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm not a doctor, but that's what happened. Something like that. But don't just say it was a pretty serious injury, man. Yeah, that's what he's saying. So
the thing is,
what it is, it's like you're not.
The thing is, Chris, right, and this is where it's interesting. Well, I'm glad you wanted to do this little piece on this, because it was interesting, right? And we'll get into it more. But he's learned nothing from the first fight, and he's doubling down. What he's doing psychologically, he's doubling down, and he's trying to maintain that ego. And I think, but we see this go wrong with fighters. I think Wilde is a prime example. He's not going to that extent, but for me personally, if I was advising him, right, and I know a bit about psychology, right? I studied it to diploma level of psychotherapy, and I'd be advising him saying, you need to accept what happened in that first fight, right? Because let's be real, right? There's no fucking injury, because if there was, you'd be saying, look, I did this to my ankle, I did this to my spine, here's what it is. The fact that he's not doing that, I think, is quite telling. And he went radio silent. It's quite telling for me. So I think we can almost categorically say there was none. And there were good questions from Darren Bent and the TalkSport team throughout this interview. And I just think the whole thing, Chris, is quite telling, because I don't think he's clearly not learned from the first fight. And if I was advising him, I'd be saying, right, take accountability, because when you take accountability, you're then owning your shit. You're owning what's happened. Do you know what? I did swallow it a bit in the first fight. It was a massive. I'm still a young fighter in the pro ranks, but I tell you what, I'm coming back in this second fight, and I'm righting that wrong. I'm going to make all the necessary adjustments, and you're going to see a different version of me in that ring. And then he's owning it, right? And then he's going to come in there ready. But to me, Chris, it's like he's not accepting what's happened.
No,
at
definitely.
all.
And you know what happens when you don't accept what happens? Bad stuff happens. You don't look.
We've seen it with Wilder. We've seen it with other fighters. I think this is the wrong approach.
Yeah, Tyson Fury and Usyk, bloody. Tyson Fury thinking he'd winning both times, so didn't make too many adjustments. See it all the time. Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to it.
Yeah.
Tell us what the injuries are, because there's a lot of people that have said maybe that you swallowed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine that the best thing to do is to come out and tell people exactly the extent of your injury. So what's the benefit in not telling us what happened?
Just the person I am. Like Olympic silver, I could have easily said, oh, it was my this, that, it was that. I could have posted the x-ray, but I didn't. It's not the person I am. When I had that big break after my second fight with the injury, I could have posted that and said, and same with this. At the end of the day, nobody wants to hear it. They just want to see the fight again. And that's the fair enough. It happened. It was very bizarre, but luckily enough, we get to run it back.
So is the injury completely clear now? You're 100% good to go.
Yeah, I feel very good. I'm in a great way, so I'm very happy, to be fair.
Ben, I'll stay with you. Your promotion team, Boxer, they complained about Liam's comments following the fight. Can you tell us what they were and what you were unhappy with?
What comments?
The comments that Liam made about you.
At the end of the day, everyone's got their own opinion. I've said this in many interviews earlier. There's no animosity to him. At the end of the day, he took his opportunity, what happened, and he's run away with it. And at the end of the day, when you're a fighter, you're fighting for your family. And he's in a position now where he can feed his family. So happy days to him. But at the end of the day, sadly, I've got to end that.
Liam, what are your thoughts on the first fight? And certainly going into this second fight, what do you think you can do differently to overcome what happened in the first fight?
I built him up as a killer, so I trained hard, with no stone unturned, and I'm not going to be disrespectful to him. It was fast, but it were easier than I thought, maybe because I built him up that much. But this fight, I've got a no ease of confidence, thinking, can he hurt me? 12 rounds now. He was struggling to do 5 rounds. So I can just keep putting the pressure on him.
Do you believe that he quit in the first fight?
It could have carried on, yeah, 100%. He knows that. He knows he could have carried on. We fighters, we pretend we're not hurt.
You two ran into each other at the airport, is that right, before the first fight?
Yeah.
And I'm led to believe that Ben rubbed you up the wrong.
This is the thing. We don't know if Ben's a fighter. So, this is the problem.
Here's a bit of a psychology for you. I knew he was going to do it. So when Liam Cameron was saying, when they said, oh, do you think he quit? Yeah. I was like, right, this is how you know if he quit or not in his heart. Yeah, with Ben Whittaker. So when he asking that question, he went, of course he quit. He knows he quit. He deep down. As soon as he said that, Ben Whittaker looked at the floor. Did you see it? Like, he looked at the floor. and it's like
body language is terrible.
body language,
Body language
like,
is really bad, Chris. Honestly,
guilty,
it's really
he
bad.
knows it's true. As soon as he said it, he looked at the floor and started looking around because that made him. Because he had to do something and react to it, even though he's not going to say, because he didn't want to react and say and kick off. So he had to do something. As soon as them words were said, boom, boom, he started twitching, looking at the floor, looking around, not smirking, because he knows it's true. That's a bit.
And also, that's a really good point, and that's a good spot as well, Chris. A good spot because body language. The thing is, human beings can become very good liars if they practice at it. Not that I condone lying, but the body doesn't lie. The body struggles to lie. But you can try and lie, and some people are very good at it. But the body will always show signs, whether it's anxiety, nerves, like you say, a bit submissive, taking his, because I think Liam Cameron has really got to him just in general. All the social media calling him out, when we're going to get this on. Ben Whittaker's normally cool, calm and collected in these situations, but he almost looks a little bit oppressed, a little bit kind of squashed down. And I think what's telling as well from the two fighters is Liam Cameron was saying, did you notice, Chris? He was saying, I built you up to be this killer. I was prepared for the best version of you. I trained my bollocks off and it was easier than I thought. Whereas Ben Whittaker's mentality was, oh, you're nothing. You couldn't even beat Lyndon Arthur. And he's learnt nothing. And he's coming into this fight, not giving him his flowers, as you would say, Chris, still saying, oh, you're nothing special. I can't remember what he says later in the interview. And he's not actually going, do you know what? You're actually a double-O bastard. You're tough in there. I'm going to have to be on my A game. So I'm calling it now. This is going to be the same result. Because
he's
do you know what I mean?
To play devil's advocate, I think he's trying to give him his respect, but not really. So basically, he's saying, "I was having a bad day, and you was on your best day, and you got a draw."
True.
Yeah. So that's what he was saying with the Champions League. So he is saying, like, okay, you're okay, but I was having a bad day. And you was on your best day, and you couldn't beat me. You got a draw. Now I'm going to be on my best day. You're going to sit like I think he was going that kind of way. So he's saying he's giving him a bit of props, but not really. Do you know what I'm saying? You only got a draw.
I think that's a fair point, Chris. I think that's a fair point. It's a fair point to come back at, and I guess we'll know on the because if we see an absolutely flying Ben Whittaker, he's in and out of range because he's got a box on the outside. If we see that and he's superb and his gas tank's great, he's trained hard, I'll hold my hands up. But I'm not convinced. Let's put it that way.
And obviously, let's see, because he's fighting in front of his hometown. More pressure in Birmingham. So you just don't know.
Pressure.
Right.
No, I went to check his hand. I said, all right. And he just blanked me. So I thought, oh, it's on.
I didn't even see him, to be fair.
He did. He looked me straight in the eyes.
I must have missed that nose.
He's not learned, has he?
Was
he was doing so well.
Why you can't take a little joke, bro?
I know, but like...
You was this in my hair and this, that.
I dish your hair.
You did before.
You've got nice curly hair.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. That's only a laugh. I've said to you, fair play. I'm happy what you've done for your family. But it's got to come to an end. And that's it, bro.
Ben, do you think you have to do something differently in this second fight then? Because as Liam was rightly said there, he was getting into he was landing some good shots. We hadn't seen that in previous fights. What are you going to have to do differently in this second fight so we don't have the same outcome? Yeah. Well, hopefully not. You don't both fall over the top rope.
Oh, God. Truthfully, I've said this before, and it's the very truth. He came, said he built me up. He did all this. I turned up just like, it is what it is. I turned up 2 out of 10, if I'm honest. And if you look at the fight, he didn't do anything really that did anything good. Oh, he hit my glove and maybe hit me head or stuff like that. He didn't do anything defining to say he was winning that fight. And that was at that level.
What's he talking about?
No, it's going to be a completely different story.
Talking about he did nothing good. He was getting inside your jab. He brought you, right? Psychologically, you're supposed to be the boxer mover, right? That's your style, boxer mover. He was drawing you into his fight, right? So he's psychologically, right? He was talking to you in the ring, and we know that because I think he says that later on. Say, oh, you're not that good, you're gassing, right? So he's completely psychologically dominated him. He's hitting him with hooks on the head. He's hurting him, you know, hitting him from different angles. What's it like? Again, like, he's not giving Liam credit. He's not giving Liam Cameron enough credit, Chris, is he?
Whatsoever.
At all. But I understand what you're saying. He doesn't want to give him too much credit. But to say he did nothing good in there, like, come on, like, that's just all ego.
That's what I wanted to say. Like, that's really bad. Like, obviously, don't want to, you can say, yeah, I turned up 2 out of 10, but to say that he did nothing, like, it's not defining, but he was taking over the fight. There was a point where Ben Whittaker was firing back, missing, hitting the gloves, and then Cameron was teeing off on him. He was lining him up.
Yeah.
Bang! Big uppercuts, big heavy overhand rights, chasing him around the ring. Like, and he was landing hooks to the body. He like everyone said it, the fight was unfolding. You know, when you just get that feeling like, oh, this isn't looking good. He's slowly crumbling. Like, that's what it was looking like to everyone. So you can't sit there and say, I know if that's what you want to tell yourself, but if you're telling yourself that, then you need to give your head a wobble, because you're gonna. I really think he's unless this is all a facade and he's taking it serious. I don't really know.
I'm concerned, Chris, to be honest, right? And it sounds like in this video, before we go back into it, that I'm hating on Ben Whittaker. I'm not, right? I want to like him. I struggle a bit with him because I'm a big Liam Cameron fan. I just think his story and the way he talks, he's my kind of fighter. But I'm struggling a little bit with Ben because I want to like him and I want to back him. You know, he's a real talent. You know, silver medalist. You know, could have won that gold medal. But these stories coming out from Dominic Ingle, walking out of sparring sessions, doesn't fan the way in which he talks. Oh, you know, you were saying you were building him up as a superstar. I just kind of walked in there. I was a 2 out. It's all very lackadaisical. It's all very, you're getting 250 grand a fight for the rest of your contract. And you're talking a bit like a, you know, pompous pop star that's just like, oh, I turned, what tells us from this interview, Chris, that he's not going to walk in Easter Sunday and do exactly the same. Like, it reeks of just negativity to me, personally.
Yeah, definitely. It's not the right attitude. But is it a double bluff? Is he like after he wins? Is he going to hug Liam Cameron, give him his flowers and everything, and say, "Fuck, you know, you're a tough guy," blah blah blah? But he's just saying this now for his confidence, or does he believe it? We don't know. Oh yeah, we don't know.
Could be a double bluff. I like where you're psychologically, you're like overthinking it, but you could be right. Like this could be a Liam Cameron maybe goes in with a false sense of security, expecting the same Ben Whittaker, and then Ben Whittaker lights him up and plays a blinder. Yeah, you could be right.
You don't know.
Just to win this fight, but win it quite convincingly. You haven't had 10 fights.
Yeah,
and
good shout.
People talk about you. Your style is very similar. People haven't seen it to Prince Nassim Hamed. But in your last maybe 3 or 4 fights, we haven't seen that flair, and you haven't been producing the type of results that perhaps you would have liked to have produced. Do you go into this one with more pressure than any other fight before?
Not really. I think the most precious situation I've been in was the Olympic qualifiers, you know, with the only one shot, and that was make or break. You've been working for 4 years for that moment, and things like that do hold you in good stead. What happened, but I'm in great spirits. And like I said earlier, it's on Easter weekend. It's the day Jesus risen, and for me, it's meant to be that day. It's the day that I win and move on.
Liam, I haven't seen too much of you fight, but I saw this fight, and I thought you were the better fighter. If I'm being honest, I think if it would have, I'm just being honest, I think if it would have carried on that way, you would have got the win. Are you going to do anything different in the preparation?
No, I ain't said I'm going to be anything different. I ain't got a new team. I've got the same team. We had 2 weeks at gym. I've been training since then, really. It's played into my hands, really, to be fair.
Liam, let me ask you a question, because a lot's been made of Ben's style, the showboating, the flashing. What do you make of the antics? Do you like it? Is it something that you
before I boxed him, I did like it. I thought it was funny. I had him made a miss. But I want him to do that kind of thing. He didn't do it in that fight with me. He was serious.
Do you think that's a sign of respect to you? Yeah, he didn't do that.
Definitely, 100%. I wanted him to have his hands down. So, yeah, a bit like you're a showboater, but you didn't do it with me. That's obviously respect, Ben, isn't it?
Take it as you want, bro.
Why didn't you do it then if he's saying that you didn't and he expected you to do it?
I had the wrong breakfast, man. They didn't have hash browns at the hotel, so it's just one of those things, sadly.
It's just silly though, isn't it? This, like, why can't we have a bit of truth in that?
There's something dark and deep between the two of you, right?
No, on my part, there's no animosity. At the end of the day, it's just another fighter for me. And when I beat him, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But like I said, I've got respect for him. I've got respect for every fighter that steps in that ring.
Right, just stopping it. What he's doing is trying to be comical. He's trying to be comical, like he's just one of them people, yeah. The words cannot come out of his mouth that Liam Cameron's better. You know, that one of them kids that you lose and they just always got an excuse. Yeah, but I always beat you normally. This happens. Like they just can't ever say you were better. They just can't do it.
That's the problem, though, Chris. I'm telling you, we've seen this. You made the point. Fury with Usyk fights, Wilder with Fury. We've seen it with other fighters. Broner was terrible for this. Adrian Broner, terrible. Right?
He won every single fight.
And I know this, right, because in life and what I've studied and a bit of experience, and I'm sure you do, you've had a lot of life experience. If you can't take responsibility for your actions, for your losses, take your losses on the chin, learn from previous relationships, learn from fallouts in life. Why did I fall out with that? Why did that relationship break? Because it's not all everybody else's fault. It's not because of the breakfast or because of this and because I didn't do that. Some of it is because of what we've done or what we haven't done. And if you can't own it, you're not going to be able to make the changes, the adjustments the next time out. You'll just keep bringing your baggage into the same situation. And that's the overriding message I get from Ben Whittaker, Chris. He's just not learning. He's not learned.
He's just
but, you know, yeah.
He's finding them excuses.
Or
believing his own lies. Whichever.
Yeah, well, you know, I could be wrong, but you know, that's my view. You know,
Liam, do you like Ben?
Yeah, I like him very much. To be fair,
thank you very much. Thank you.
I think this will be a fascinating. Sometimes we get boxers in, and after they go out, I turn to Betty and say, I don't necessarily believe the hate between the two, but with you two, I do feel that there's something going on here.
Yeah.
I think it's a massive fight for both of you, but I think, Liam, you've got absolutely no pressure on you whatsoever.
No pressure. No pressure.
You have nothing to lose, right?
No, I have nothing to lose. Everything's online for him.
Is there a rematch clause in this one?
I even seen the contract, if I'm honest, so God knows.
Do you know?
I didn't know what it was.
Why it's in the contract? What's it talking about?
What happens to the winner? Where do you go next if you win?
I go to Five Guys. I told him we can meet thereafter, man. You know what I mean?
Anthony Yard.
For a nice Five Guys and a milkshake.
I didn't mean for dinner. I just meant the next fight.
Oh, well, that's the next thing. I don't know where I'll be going after that. You know what I mean? You know,
winner of Yard Alpha. The winner of this year.
Exactly, but hopefully they can give me a sponsorship after this.
Okay, boys, thank you for coming in. You've not really looked at each other once since you've been in.
We've looked at each other enough now. We did 2 face-offs. It's getting a bit strange now. We end up lovers, so I'm okay. Keep looking at it.
This was the press conference earlier today, right?
Yeah.
Is this where, Liam, you called Ben QUITTAKER? Is that right?
Yeah, I like that name. It's quite good. I might put it on my shorts.
Does that make sense to you at all?
That was a good comeback.
What would he get to? I think it's quite funny, to be fair.
Okay. Boys, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Nice one.
How are you going to win it?
Turn up.
Okay. Early? Okay.
Turn up.
Okay. Liam, how are you going to win it?
Smash.
Whoa.
Early,
that
late?
sounded a bit crazy. Smash.
No, that's how
you're moving. See,
that's how he's taking it.
I don't want to talk no more.
That's how he's taking it. You know what smash means, don't you?
I know what that means.
We're talking about gloves. We're not.
I hope
we're
so.
Not sexual getting.
I hope so. Turn up to the ring with whips and chains.
No, I think
he's going to turn up to the ring with whips and chains. He's moving a bit crazy.
You're moving crazy. You've got mad imagination. That's crazy.
I know I'm good looking, but gosh.
Wow.
No way. I see it in his eye at the press conference. He was looking at me with that little twinkle.
Just letting know our producers having kittens in there, so maybe.
Yeah. Boys, thank you for coming in. I'm looking forward to this fight. I'll be watching it.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you very
May
much.
the best man win.
Yep.
We're going to have a much-earned rest.
Because I sent you the title via email. I might have to change the title to Ben Whittaker versus Cameron 2. Things get a bit fruity and zesty between them. That could be the title, you know. It all got a bit homoerotic, didn't it? All got a little bit weird.
The press conference, like, this is another thing. Like, Ben Whittaker, he wasn't that nice in the press conference, was he? Like, when he was sat right next to him, straight away, when he said about, I couldn't miss that nose, and then he realised he sat next to him, he's like, can't you take a joke? Sorry, man. You made fun of my hair, remember? Before we had a fight about 6 months ago? So I'm just making fun of, like, just take a joke. Like, he's not saying it and standing on. And then when he's, like, saying smash, he's like, oh, do you fancy me? I see. Like, he's been really playful. And in the press conference, his attitude was completely different. Like, he was very, very a bit rude and condescending, but it's because you're at the other side of the room. So that's another thing about his character. Like, someone like most fighters, like, take a Dylan White or a Derek Chisora. Do you think they're going to say to your face what they're going to say at the press conference? It's not going to be different mentality ever.
But also, Chris, just as another angle to this, it might be, you know, in life sometimes people have a certain aura about them. You behave a bit differently depending who you're in company with, and I just wonder. I don't know, but I wonder when he gets in a bit of close proximity with Liam Cameron, whether it's in the ring, whether it's next to each other on radio shows. I wonder whether he gets a little bit. There's something about Liam Cameron's energy, because Liam Cameron's a very kind of old school, straight talking, like it is. And I think Ben gets a little bit antsy around him. He gets a little bit sort of, I don't know, he gets all a bit weird and a bit nice. And I wonder whether that's maybe a problem. And he gets in the ring and because you know, and you've said this before loads of times, you've got to get that ring in and put your friendships and you put whatever to one. You've got to get in there and want to fucking take his head off. And I don't know, like, Ben's a bit.
He hasn't got that in him.
Where is it?
You know,
the spite. The spite is what the word I'm looking for. The spite.
The spite. He hasn't got the spite in him. You know that YouTuber or Instagram guy that he fought, whatever he was? Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, that guy was headbutting him, elbowing him, like, and there was not one bit where, and he just kept being crying to the ref. There was not one bit in him that I thought, I'll elbow him back, I'll do it back, or I'll make him pay. I'm going to unload on this fucker for headbutting me. There's no viciousness whatsoever. Yeah,
and what was
it's a good thing, but it's kind of boring. We want.
And what was Liam Cameron doing? Rabbit punches, punch. Now, I'm not condoning that, right? But Liam Cameron, regardless of the relationship, you can just tell as why I like. He's a fighting man. Whether people are going to love Ben Whittaker because he's a very flashy boxer, skilled, handsome, lovely curly hair, as Liam Cameron said. Liam Cameron, right? All right, he's not the best looking bloke. He's not the most, but he's my kind of fighter, really rough, rugged. Regardless of whether he likes you or not, he's going to get in that ring. He's going to talk dirty to you. He's going to say nasty things in your ear, throw in an elbow. When he throws a hook, he's going to leave his elbow in, hit you around the back of the head, try and leave his shoulder in, headbutt. He's got no problem doing that whatsoever. And I don't think Ben Whittaker wants any part of it. He don't like it. And I think we're going to see him in this fight. He's going to ask for that ring to be 10 foot fucking long, 20 foot long, and he's going to run around the ring and try and get on the end of his jab and not let him anywhere near him. And what I don't want to see is the ref keep splitting them up. If Cameron's trying to get in close and the ref keeps splitting them up, I'm going to smell a rat, Chris. I'm telling you that now.
Definitely. And we'll make sure that them ropes are fucking nice and tight as well, won't we, this time?
Yeah. Well, there's no exit. No exits.
No exits. Right, that's it from us. Boxing Bros UK. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, guys. Like and sub.